Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Mainstream Monday here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Minnie. I'm here with my co-host, John Ward. How you doing, John?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Um, so I so first of all, we're gonna take a little bit of a detour real quick and talk about Megan again. Just because there was one thing I forgot to bring up that I'm kind of sad I didn't bring up. I didn't think about it till after we had already recorded. But their marketing stuff was genius. Now I've seen this before. I know you weren't a big fan of Violent Night. Not a huge fan of it, yourself. But I saw it first with that, where if you followed or
I'm
comment,
sorry. That's the one. Remember when I was trying to get, I think it was you and Paul, where I was trying to say what was the movie that I didn't like that was like 20 other movies? And
yeah,
you guys had like no idea what I was talking
yeah,
about. And I'm like, no, I said that I did it and because I posted it on Facebook. It's Violent Night.
okay.
That was
Um,
it. Yeah.
so yeah, so anyway, just so Violent Night to kind of give you an example, and Megan does the same thing, but this was the first time this has ever happened to me, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. If you went to the Facebook's page for Violent Night and you commented, they would send you a message. Now it was an AI message, right? So it would say, have you been good or naughty this year? Right? And then you say good, and they would react to you or whatever, and they would say things like, whatever, right? Megan took it up a notch, and I showed you a clip, and I'm about to put that clip right here. So, that clip right there was what I sent you, where you were like, ah, like I don't want to, I want to stay away from you because, she's got your back or whatever,
Yeah, yeah. You've done your hand thing. You've been
Yeah,
embedded in her or whatever it is.
I know. So she's mine now. Um, and that sounded really wrong.
Yeah.
Considering she's a like what 13-year-old supposed to be a 13-year-old girl or something. I don't know. But anywho, the point was that when you did that, like, yeah, she did that thing where, can you tell me can you repeat this line and then I will, so she had that line that I said and she kept it and then she said, this will be ours forever, that kind of thing. And it was neat. It was almost like Megan was really talking to me. It was almost kind of creepy, but worked for the Facebook AI thing, you know. Now, I don't know if that works for every movie, Like, I don't know if I want AI Evil Dead Rise people talking to me. I don't think I
But
want that.
yeah, the mom would be pretty creepy.
It'd be pretty creepy. I mean, it might be cool, but so I
Maybe
saw
if it was
that,
Bruce Campbell as Ash, that'd be
yeah,
cool.
that would be cool, and he could talk to me as a groovy, you know.
You
Um,
go, Jonathan, have a groovy day.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that'd be neat. But anyway, like the point is that I just thought the marketing and everything was off the hook crazy. And I wonder if that's going to be a new thing with Facebook and with because they are really trying to get into like the metaverse and trying to implement Hollywood into, the Facebook world and everything. So who knows? That could be a pretty cool situation, you know. I don't know.
I
I
agree.
like it,
Yeah.
you know.
No,
But
some of it can be very fun. It's kind of like a new version of Blair Witch.
right?
What they did on with the websites and the music and the books and the documentaries and all that stuff where they're all part of that. It's not, the website isn't just click here for trailer. It's click here to find out what happened to the campers type of thing.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
that's actually called transmedia. When basically you take different media uh things, resources, sources, and you kind of link them all together. So like the Blair Witch, say take an example for Blair Witch. So Blair Witch, they had the website, right? And then you click on the website, you go to the because like you watch the movie, and the movie at the end says go to blairwitch.com for more, right? To find out more. So you go to blairwitch.com. You click on whatever, and they have you buy a CD, right? And in the CD there's a story, right? That's linked to a book that tells you more story and gives you more background. And you could dive more into it if you're interested, if that's something like all of a sudden you're a fan and you're like, oh my God, I want to know more. Marvel and Star Wars and stuff were doing that back in the day. Star Wars not as much anymore because they don't know what the fuck that's remember we talked about that. That's something we'd have to say for a whole nother podcast. See what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
but yeah, so Megan could be cool if they decide to do like a book or CD. In the soundtrack, there's a song that talks about, Megan doing more stuff, that kind of thing. And I feel like more movies should do that, just not just because it helps boost sales for whatever stuff, but like it just gives the fans an experience that, they won't get just from watching the movie, you know?
sure.
And
Yeah, make it fun.
yeah, make it fun. I like that's why I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the way of like watching all these things and then going in and watching shorts and watching or looking at different stuff and finding out more information, you know? Um, but anyway,
Well,
so
I agree with you for the most part. I wanted to go see Doctor Strange too, and because
right.
it's Sam Raimi, so I wanted to watch it. And I told my effects artist Miranda, who's like you, she's like a massive
I
Marvel
love
fan,
Miranda. I
and
need to
and
talk to her more.
oh my god, it's nothing is wrong. I mean, it's like there's not one bad thing that Marvel or Disney's done with her, but. And so I said, "Oh, I want to go see Doctor Strange too." And she goes, and she laughed at me, and she goes, "Oh, you're not going to understand anything."
Right.
And I thought, well, that's stupid because now that leaves me and many people out of the picture. I shouldn't have to watch four movies and three TV shows and
I
read
don't
eight
think
books and
I think
comic
she's
books
wrong
and
on that. I
you
don't
know,
think you need to see that. It doesn't hurt to watch WandaVision and all these other things, but I don't think you need to. Now that I'm like remembering it's not one of those things where if
I
you
mean, I
don't
did see
watch,
it, but
yeah, and you understood what happened,
yeah,
right?
I don't think I was really confused with anything, but
Right.
I mean, who knows? I probably missed a lot because I haven't watched the all that stuff. But it's for somebody like you or her or whatever. It's in a immersive experience that you could really enjoy and get into.
Right. And
So
and for some people they're just not as invested. So, and that's the thing, you have to be careful. You have to make a movie still feel standalone, but also throw in all those like little in jokes and insider stuff that people can go, oh yeah, I remember when that happened,
yeah,
or whatever. It was like that pitch meeting guy. I forgot which one, maybe it was Doctor Strange, or it was No Way Home. I think it was Spider-Man No Way Home. And he was like, oh, he's from that movie. And he's from that movie. Wait.
yeah,
And they're like, you have to go watch all the Spider-Man movies and then all the amazing Spider-Man ones and then, and then come back to me. Oh, okay, now I know who that person is or what that, right? Because otherwise you will have no idea. But like, I think people have seen, um, Spider-Man's all the Spider-Man movies that, enough to know who each and, like I didn't watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I was pretty sure I knew who Jamie Foxx was, like as Electro, like or whatever. I just may have not gotten the the full story of like what happened to him. You know what I mean? Like what got him there. You know what I
well,
mean?
yeah,
So,
and for us who did watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, it was clear that Jamie Foxx did not want to put on the makeup when he was doing No Way Home.
see, I
So
didn't get
it was
that.
like, yeah, it's because he's all made up. I mean, it's probably hours of makeup, and he's probably like, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not going to put on the makeup.
Yeah,
So he's now the guy before he looks like Electro.
right.
So, but yeah, no, I for the most part I agree with you. Sure.
Yeah. So, so if they did Megan again, they're going to do Megan 2.0. If they did more cool stuff with it, made a book that might, maybe, they have a book that sort of is a prequel to what's going to happen, like is like Megan 1.5, like before 2.0, that sort of like, because you don't need to read it, but if you do, you might understand things that happen in that kind of thing. And
Yeah, and they've done that type of thing before. I remember I read the book for Terminator Salvation, and it
mm,
took place in between three and Salvation,
mm,
and so that it didn't help any really. It just kind of filled in a
a
little bit
couple
more,
gaps,
but
yeah, and
yeah, but there was no
but
reason for somebody who was like a casual viewer to read
to
it.
have to do that, yeah, unless you're a
Yeah,
fan of Terminator, and that's the thing, fan of
yeah, you
Megan,
want to
you're
know
gonna go.
everything. Yeah,
And there was a lot more fans of Megan than I thought there was. I mean, it did really well in the box office, but like besides that, when I posted the thing last night, there was somebody there that, said she loved, Megan. I had no idea, like, and I was like, all right, awesome. That's, like people do love that stuff. So, I mean, whatever. But to go to another movie that we're about to talk about that's also produced by James Wan. This was Lights Out, and I guess we could go into like basically how it all began in a way that we know of. It started with a short, you know, um, for a competition. It was just he, the director, David, how do you say his name?
like Stransfield or something like that. David A.
David
Oh,
F.
what
Sandberg.
Sandberg? I got to say, I got the freaking box right here.
Yeah,
I could have just looked
so
it up.
David F. Sandberg, basically him and his girlfriend, I don't know if they're married now. I think they were girlfriend, boyfriend at the time. Okay, they are married now. They were working on this film and I guess they're from Sweden, you know, um, and whatnot. And they were working on this like competition and it was I don't know if it was the Who's There film competition, but they did win for that, you know.
It
So
was the Who's There competition. Yeah,
okay. So they
yeah.
won that for that because if you look at Wikipedia, it says they didn't win, which not true then, you know. But they
Well, the YouTube channel for it says like winner of it,
yeah,
but then I don't know because I didn't look any further than that. I just assumed that the one that won got the major motion picture. So
right.
obviously
Well,
James Wan saw something in it.
what Wikipedia said, and once again, Wikipedia is sometimes wrong because it's written by other people who aren't necessarily the people involved in the productions and stuff, just people who add their 2 cents, or whatever. So they said basically Wikipedia said that they made this short film and all of a sudden they got, it went viral everywhere, online. And if you look at it, it had like 17 million views, or whatever.
What
So
an
yeah,
easy movie too. I mean, it probably took a day to shoot.
I know. And it wasn't that hard too, period. Like I guarantee you just took some cool lighting effects and stuff and to make sure that
Well,
like the lights were on, you know.
yeah, because it's basically from watching someone like Joe Lujan do a lot of this stuff. It is you can kind of figure out how they put the creature down the hallway.
Mm,
Where they um you're supposed to, let's say, have like a car tire and you want it to disappear. So you take the car tire and you film the car tire, and then you move the car tire out of the way, and then you film the same spot without the car tire.
hmm Kind of
And
like a green screen kind of thing too sometimes.
yeah, but it's because it gets layered. So it's so something like this is, I would imagine that they shot the hallway with the creature and with the woman, and then they probably moved the woman out of the way and then shot it with the creature.
Mm,
So it could just be layered on top of one another, and then it's just through the magic of editing, it disappears and reappears and disappears and reappears. So it's only 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
right.
I liked it. To let people know, it's like a woman is in her house, and I think like she's getting ready for bed, it looks like, and she turns out the light, and there's something down the hallway. She turns it back on. There's nothing, turns it off. There it is again, turns it on. There's
And it's
nothing
getting
there.
closer each time.
Yeah, and she keeps flipping it on and off, and then she takes a piece of tape and puts it over the light switch, and then she goes to bed, and she
Mm,
hears stuff in the hall, like outside, like her door is kind of open like that, and she can hear everything out there.
mm,
And then but the weird thing is, doesn't she turn on the light and there's the creature?
yeah,
But that does not go against it
yeah,
not being in the light.
yeah, yeah. I was that thought that was kind of weird. Like that was a weird way to end it, like as if it really didn't need the lights to be off or
Yeah,
something at the end
I've
of it.
because I've watched it a couple times, and this time around, I'm like, wait a minute, she turned on the light, and the thing, and it didn't look like the creature from the movie. It just looked like a person, like kind of like a
It looked
crazy
like a
person.
creepy, it almost looked like a ventriloquist dummy or something, some kind of big ass head, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
kind of eyes and stuff, but it
Yeah.
didn't at all look like the. So I could see kind of like how James Wan would maybe look at the guy who did that film about like the haunted house and the realtor,
Hmm.
and then he'd say like, oh, there's something there. I mean, this is creative, that
Hmm.
with turning on the light and off. So I could see where that would catch his
Well,
attention.
so it did. So what had happened was agents, contacted a bunch of agents came to David and said, "Hey, I'd like to work with you." And he said, or and then he found one particular one that wanted to link up, that like specifically wanted to link up as a producer with James Wan. Um, and this one was so I'll just read this real quick. Sandberg, along with his wife Lotta Lawson, created the initial short for a film competition. Although the film did not win the competition, is what he said, which I'm guessing that's wrong. The short soon went viral, leading to Sandberg to be contacted by several agents to the point where he had to develop a spreadsheet to track them all, track all of them. Um,
Hmm.
One of the contacts was Lawrence Gray, who wanted to collaborate with James Wan in order to produce a feature-length version. Although Wan enjoyed this short, he was hesitant that it could be turned into a feature until Sandberg produced a treatment for the feature-length version. Right? The
Okay.
move to Hollywood was somewhat hectic for the couple, requiring that Lawson quit her job in order to do so. Once in Hollywood, the two were unable to get apartment due to not having a U.S. credit score, forcing them to rent Airbnb on a monthly basis. Um, so that's a little like information. Like I don't know how these people know this unless he might have said it in some interviews or something, you know? Sandberg originally based the character of Rebecca on a real girl he knew suffering from depression who was engaging in self-harm, which is why Rebecca has scars on her arms. But the development of the film made it less about depression and more of a ghost story in which Diana would have been a real person who died and became a ghost. Juan came up with the idea of making Diana the ghost. Rebecca's boyfriend was given a twist of being a rocker, but is actually committed and responsible, and even drives a safe car like a Volvo. Another twist Sandberg liked was making the imaginary friend for the mother rather than the trope of having the friend be the child, be for the child, for the mother instead of the child, and stuff, I think. But she was like her friend, when she was a child and she grew up and she's still there, every time she's kind of sick, I guess, was the
Well,
point.
that's where I texted you, and I said, oh wait, I'm getting you know Why can't I pronounce it? Mel
Malignant.
Malignant. God, I cannot. I think I keep wanting to say Mel, but it's not. That's what's screwing me up. But I kept getting those vibes from it because it's, there was the little kid and the thing on her back, or now it's the friend, and the friend is disappearing, and the and it's just like I'm really, and you got the doctors that are trying to help her, and
When I saw the scene in the beginning where the doctor's like, I guess, experimenting on stuff or whatever, and the husband, in the beginning of the film, he's kind of doing like, I guess, some kind of experiments. I didn't understand the beginning necessarily what he was doing, but
wait who
the father in the very beginning, like, dies in the opening scene.
talking about the guy in the laundromat.
He was a laundromat. They were
it,
doing
it,
a
it was a warehouse that was a like a giant laundromat, and he was working late.
Okay, I thought he was doing some kind of experiments and shit. That's what it looked like to me. No,
No,
they
no,
had
no,
like
no,
that big
no.
ass glass that like you could see out of or whatever, see
I didn't
into the
take
thing.
it. No, I didn't take that at all. Because he walks by, and so does the woman who's leaving. She walks by giant washing machines, and there's
Okay,
all
I
these
didn't.
clothes that she walks by and mannequins. And so I think it's like a clothing warehouse or laundry, like a laundromat or something.
It's a textile factory.
Okay, there you go. Okay, close. So there you go.
In a textile factory during closing hours, after an employee named Esther says goodbye to her boss Paul, she encounters a silhouette of a strange woman with claw-like hands. And when the lights off, but she cannot see it when the lights are on. Okay, I'm sorry, I completely misunderstood what was going on because later it made more sense to me because later he's the one who's apparently trying to figure out what's going on with the chick, So I thought that's what I thought was going on, I
Yeah, yeah,
guess.
because Maria Bello's character, one mom, two dads type
Right.
of thing, two husbands.
There
And
was
so
two husbands,
our
yeah.
yeah, our lead actress had the dad who she thought abandoned her,
Right.
but
Which I was so
Diana
upset.
killed her
I was so
or killed
upset.
him.
Yeah, I was so upset that they actually brought, you know, uh, uh, that she actually told the daughter that, you know, like that I killed your husband. At first, I was like, well, I mean, maybe I was not as mad after because it did sort of spark the hatred more of her. But what I wanted was when they said, why did dad leave and all this stuff, and I was like, ooh, he was murdered by the chick, right? And I was like, ooh, I hope they don't say anything, right? So that it sort of leaves it ambiguous. Did she, did she actually kill the person? But no, there's that one line at the end where, um, with the Diana, whatever, is saying, this this is like when I killed your father or something like that. And I was like,
That, yeah, none of that bothered me. I thought that it actually showed that she's been there all along. That basically throughout her entire life, Diana's been there. And
well,
and
she
if you
has because that's why the daughter left, right? The daughter left because the mother was talking to Diana or whatever,
well,
you
yeah,
know.
she thought, yeah, that the mother was insane, that and all this type of stuff was going on.
So
But
she,
but there's a difference between just the mom talking to thin air and talking to some weird ghost that disappeared in a chair.
yeah. Well,
What,
what's her the kid, the boy sees the Diana too, like at one point remember when he runs into his room from his mother and everything? Like he
yeah,
saw her. So like Diana's been showing herself to the kid,
to the kid,
more.
but not to the daughter though, because the daughter I
Yeah,
don't think experienced anything until she had her hair pulled.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
one thing I really liked in this, the boyfriend.
Oh yeah. Um,
He wasn't a dick. He wasn't trying to use her. He wasn't trying to do any. He just wanted. He was like a really nice guy who wanted to be her boyfriend, who wanted to spend time with her, and he stuck with her. And I thought, wow, that's actually really nice.
I know,
The guy's not
and
a
they mention
dickhead.
that because he's a rocker, he's a rock star, a rock guy. He's yeah, they never say that. He never says, oh man, my band is going to be playing at whatever, you know what I mean? But like he's got that rock look to him, and everything. But he's not like the typical I'm a douchebag rock guy that just wants to bang hot chicks.
Yeah, because you won't let me stay at your house. I'm going to go bang some groupie.
Yeah, something like that, which, he's like, if you won't let me stay by your house, that's fine. I'll just see you tomorrow. And I'm like, dude, you're pretty fucking cool. I like you. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
and I'm glad that he survived,
I'm glad he survived. I'm glad,
yeah, which was nice, and
I'm glad
you
she
know she
survived.
yeah, and
You
she
know,
obviously has issues, which is why she's later on says you can have the bottom drawer. I mean, everybody
abandonment
in this was
issues.
was good.
The
It was like
theme was about
the little kid
abandonment.
was good, and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Okay.
throughout the whole thing, it's about, you think it's a little bit about depression or whatever, but it's about basically when shit gets tough, can you handle sticking around?
Well, I would add to that abuse, because the relationship that the mom and Diana are in is abuse.
Yeah.
Look what you made me do. And it hits her across the living room.
Hmm.
It's all about abuse, and
It's
and
all
like
about abuse. So there's
now,
abuse, there's abandonment,
yeah. So I did think malignant. There you go. I'm
malignant.
trying to keep the I in there. Um, so I did get a lot of those vibes from this with that character with the doctors. So I wonder if they kind of cannibalize their own movies from time to time, because
Yeah,
then I got Megan vibes before I got the malignant
I
vibes
did too.
with
Um,
like the uh who is she, not the
the CPA
shit,
or
the CPA, yeah,
yeah,
that,
whatever. That
and
that lady came
and
in and she's Child Protective Services,
Child
CPS
Protective
or whatever.
Services, that's what I was trying to think of,
Yeah.
and she acted the same way as the therapist did in Megan.
No, I liked her better. She was more
she
caring.
she's better, but she's like, you need to change, and she's kind of looking around, and she sees the bong, and she looks at all
That's
the
probably how all of
posters,
them
and
are in real life. I
it
mean,
is, but you can't judge people off that. I mean, shit, it's the first day,
I know,
come.
and but she says you're gonna have to change, and she said I will change, right? And so, like she's like, okay, like she doesn't go like laugh at her or anything. She just understands. And I really liked watching that like little alternate ending you showed me. We can talk about that real quick, but like,
I'm so glad they cut that out.
are
So
you?
glad. Yes,
Okay,
because and well, let's talk about it right now then.
yeah.
So we think I mean, the film's been out long enough, so spoilers, whatever. But it's the mom figures out the only way of getting rid of Diana is by committing suicide. So she blows her brains out.
Hmm.
And then the cops show up, the fire department shows up, the ambulances show up, and everybody walks outside, and the camera cranes up, and we fade out, and we go to credits. Perfect. Perfect. It's a
All right.
nice, tight 80 minutes. And then I saw that in the deleted scenes, and I'm like, wow, now the mom's suicide means nothing because
Yeah.
Diana lived. She survived. So that's
Yeah,
why
and they
they
had to
really
kill her
didn't.
through the lights or whatever, like
Now,
having the
I
lights.
like that. If they maybe figured out something else besides of the suicide, which the director got criticized for. It's on Wikipedia. I was just looking at it. He got highly criticized for promoting suicide. Fuck off. I can't stand this type of shit.
It's it's not promoting, it's sacrifice,
Yeah,
You're sacrificing yourself for the good of everybody else around you. And
and it's a monster. We know that there's a monster there. Then that's the only way to do it.
right.
So it's just I can't stand these fucking people who do this type of shit. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
It's just it sucks. But it's and they mentioned in Wikipedia the same thing that I thought last night, which is if that ending was on there, that deleted ending, then the mother's suicide would be in vain.
Right.
And I completely agree with that. You
I
know,
agree. I agree. I still liked seeing it. It was kind of cool. Like it was
oh,
fun to
I
see all
love it
that
as a
stuff.
yeah, as a deleted scene, and I
Yeah, as
do
a
like
deleted
how
scene.
they're kind of prepared for her with all the lights set up.
Yeah. Like they're all
It,
ready just in case, and then they do have to use it. And then I do like that the CPS lady comes and says, "You're now you that this isn't like 100% like done, but
yeah,
yes, you're now a foster mother." And
yeah,
so I thought that was pretty cool. I think it would have been interesting had I don't know, like yeah, I guess I was gonna say like it would have been an interesting beginning to the next movie, you know? But you're right. Then once again, it's like then they're just saying fuck you to the first movie. Like the ending to the first
yeah.
movie.
I don't
I
think they unless it transferred maybe to somebody else, and like Martin's an adult or something like that. Oh, do you think Martin was actually like kind of under her spell, or do you think he was just doing it to kind of get her so then they could turn on all the lights?
yeah, I don't know. That was weird. That part was weird because he was like, she says she'll protect us now and stuff like that. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
she could talk to mom.
yeah, she can talk. I'm like, why would you want to talk to her mom like that? Like, her mom's dead, like,
But then
y-
the daughter did say, she's like, no, she's tricking you. She can't talk to mom. So I don't know. Maybe
anyway,
I'm glad they cut it because I love this film. I really I even love. I think this is now maybe my third time watching it, and I like it even more now. I really do. I think
I
it's a
actually liked it more
solid
than
movie.
Megan. And yeah, that's saying much because I really, really, really liked Megan. So I don't know.
Wow,
Um,
it's shorter than Megan.
It's shorter than Megan, and it it honestly really hooked me in, and it went by like that. I was like looking at the times and going, "Whoa, wait, are we like halfway over already?" Like this is crazy, and it was because it was simple stuff. It wasn't too complicated. There wasn't, and to go back to like Dead Silence, with Dead Silence having that fucking stupid ass ending and shit and all this other stuff, it didn't seem like there was much studio interference. It didn't seem like too many cooks it was very concise and easy to understand. Um, the writer of it was not David F. Sandberg. I guess David did
No,
the
it's Eric
Eric
like Hessler,
Heiser.
Heiser.
Um, so he had done Bird Box, which I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not. But he also did Final
It wasn't
Destination 5.
horrible.
Wasn't
Okay, well,
horrible, but
fine.
it wasn't my favorite. I was kind of disappointed because there was so much hype on it. And that's the problem with Facebook and social media these days is so many people are like, Bird Box on Netflix is amazing. You should watch it. And then I watch it, I'm like,
Because
okay.
I'm not going to name names, but there are people that I'm friends with that you're also friends with who, whenever a new movie comes out, they're like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen." Oh, until the next movie comes out,
Hmm.
and then that will be the greatest movie that you've ever seen. Oh my god, this is the greatest Evil Dead movie ever made until the next Evil Dead movie comes out.
Right. Like,
And it's
yeah.
just it's those people that hype these things up because for some reason they just have to do that, I guess. And it's like,
Mm.
dude, not everything is great.
No, not
Texas
everything
Chainsaw
is.
Massacre wasn't great. Why are you
Anybody who
saying
says
it's
that the
great?
new one was great is wrong.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you're
he
very
also
wrong.
wrote the Thing prequel, which is interesting.
Which
Um,
was not bad.
I
So
haven't
I
seen it. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just I just have not seen it. So
the
maybe
big
next year
problem,
we'll do it for you
it's
know.
there was no reason to make it, but they took a lot of time to go and look at Carpenter's thing to make sure that camp was like 100% accurate to his film. The problem was the entire movie was supposed to be practical.
You
And
know,
it was practical until Universal Studios said, nope, it's going to be all CGI.
next year, next season, we should do like prequels and sequels of movies that were like really famous, or whatever, like The Thing or The Blob, or like remakes, like sequels, remakes, and uh prequels to movie, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I think that
Okay,
would be
sure.
pretty fun to
Yeah.
do. And then I can watch ones I haven't seen because I have not seen The Thing. I've seen The Blob, but remake, but so he did Extinction, which he was uncredited for, Bloodshot, which is the DC movie, and
Oh, with Vin
then
Diesel?
was it Vin Diesel? I think it was Vin Diesel.
That
Vin
wasn't
Diesel,
bad.
yep. You know,
That was not bad.
and his he's got a bunch in development, and a movie called Your Name it was also in development, but it's a live action adaptation of a 2016 anime film about two strangers who mysteriously swap bodies. So it's a body swap movie, anime thing, so that could be interesting.
Okay.
He's in development. He's got one movie called Inhuman, another called Seized, Understand, God Forsaken, Van Helsing. So I guess there's a new Van Helsing movie being made. The Scrawl, Simultaneous, Lights Out 2, and World of
Oh
Darkness.
shit. Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get to it, and we'll talk about how much it made, but this movie
I
was
got it
a
up.
hit,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
movie
yeah.
was a hit. So there was absolutely no reason that was a Warner Brothers, I think, put it out.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't greenlit this for a second, movie like 2 years later, but they were a
I would
mess
be
back
curious
then.
to see, who's directing Lights Out 2 since Shazam 2 did not do very well with that, with the
Yeah, it
director.
probably won't be David. Well, it might.
Well, but nobody's blaming actually the director. A lot of people I've heard said that Shazam 2 was better than the first one. They're actually now blaming James Gunn, and Warner Brothers is blaming James Gunn for saying, "Dude, why didn't you wait to announce all this stuff after these movies came out? Because now nobody is going to see films that don't matter."
Right.
Which is why
I
I didn't see it. I liked the first Shazam movie.
Yeah, I bet the second one was great too. I haven't seen it yet. But it was also the time period where I stopped getting my Regal card and stuff, my Regal subscription, unlimited pass and everything. I'm
Well,
gonna
it
be
went
getting
to
that
HBO
in
Max
a couple
fast.
weeks. What?
Went to HBO Max fast.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to unlimited, the back to the unlimited, and I'm going to start watching more movies in the theater. Which will be, I mean, don't know if I still don't know if I'll see The Flash or not. I don't know if I want to give
It's since it's all Warner Brothers, I'm just gonna wait till I guess
till it gets on
Max is
HBO
now the name.
Max.
Well, Max.
Yeah, you're the
Introducing
second person
Max.
to tell me that. Like Joe Turk just told me yesterday it's being changed to Max now,
Yeah,
not
if you
HBO Max.
yeah, they're changing it. It's just
So
called
there's no
Max.
HBO that's going to exist anymore?
I guess at some point it will just disappear and just become Max. I also saw it up on YouTube, up in one of the corners. It said like introducing Max and like subscribe to Max.
Mm, that's just sad.
So I guess that's what Zaslav is doing is that he didn't want HBO, so
But he
but
got HBO. It's part of the package, you
yeah,
know.
and they
Um,
owe a shitload of money, so they lied on their records, so
mm,
he got really screwed. So I'm surprised more things aren't being canceled, but it goes to show still that um make a good movie, your film makes money. Now because now they're saying Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to bomb,
I hope
and
not.
and yeah, they're saying that the early previews have said that people just look bored while making it, and because of James Gunn and stuff that they say it's not going to hit like 1 billion. It's not going to do as well as the other ones. It's going to
They
be
say that,
considered
but
to be a bomb.
I just saw a video where somebody was saying it's getting nothing but good praise. So I don't know what to believe. I don't know. I'm gonna go see it. I'll definitely see it on May 5th,
and
you know.
and I have to hope that it bombs. So
What? Yeah,
because it's
well.
Disney, it's Marvel. I don't want their stuff to succeed. I want Evil Dead Rise to succeed.
Oh,
I
and
want
Evil
Lights
Dead
Out to
Rise will
succeed.
still succeed. I mean,
I don't want these junk movies to succeed. I mean, it's just that's I don't want them to succeed. I don't
all right.
like I don't
Anyway,
like Disney. Yeah, so it's
moving on.
I'm hoping
So to go
it
back
does.
to this movie that we should be talking about, Lights Out. The so the basically the story goes that that this uh I guess this girl at a was it like a mental hospital, right? Like the was it the mother went to a mental hospital when she was a kid for like depression or whatever, like, probably thoughts of suicide, things like that. And she became friends with this girl who could barely, like, was very pale, or something, had like some
Yeah,
kind
she
of
didn't like the
disease.
sunlight. Yeah.
Yeah, she had a disease and she couldn't be around the sun. And she got killed, like, or she, like, they killed her or whatever by putting her in the sun, I guess, or whatever.
Well, she
And
was I guess it was over a little bit that they were doing kind of experiments on her because then she you saw pictures where she was fully there and then a
mm,
picture of her halfway there and then a picture of her kind of like almost like ashes or like a burn on the
mm,
chair and then she just kind of disappeared, I guess, into
yeah,
like another
so,
dimension or something like that, very kind
something
of
something
comic
happened.
booky. Yeah.
And then she came back and as, I guess, like, sort of like a ghost or alternate whatever of
Well,
herself.
through the mom's depression. So whenever the mom went off drugs, went off her antidepressants, Diana could come back in.
But why was she an adult? Wouldn't she have been a kid?
Possibly, unless wherever she went, they could grow.
I guess, as an whatever, or maybe she's just the same age as the woman. She just ages, what the because that's she's connected, almost like
Yeah, if the
Megan.
mom's a
She's
teenager,
connected,
she's yeah.
you know. That's her. But what it was a primary source or whatever, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Like your primary user is the mom.
User is the mom.
Well,
So,
and the mom felt really guilty about everything because when she was on the drugs, that means that she felt that she was ignoring Diana,
mhm,
and so that's why she went off the drugs. And then
right.
Diana, I guess, was hiding the drugs. So she was there, I guess, all along. Whenever she wouldn't be the drugs would be there. It's just if you turn on a light, she would disappear,
Hmm.
but she would be there.
Right.
So it's not like she was a ghost that kind of just like went through a wall or something. She was
Right.
actually there.
Well, yeah, she could
And
touch things, like, and
yeah,
she
and
touched
hit
a lot of
people and
stuff.
bash them. And because this is Warner Brothers, I would have loved to have seen this as part of like the Conjuring universe or like a spin-off well, Insidious would be a different company, but something where they could include it because this is such, I think, like a Conjuring character.
Well, you know what it gave me sort of vibes of? You said Megan and you said Malignant, but I also got a little bit of and this was before Curse of La Llorona. There was a couple of Curse of La Llorona feelings to it, in my opinion, especially with the child protective stuff, and then
Yeah,
later,
yeah, okay. Yeah.
with the pulling the people through the you know, on the floor. I guess that's a big thing with James Wan anyway, but everybody getting pulled back or
But
whatever. And
but we didn't see any of them get launched through the air, which is
yeah,
still my freaking favorite.
I
I
know.
love that so much. when I get to make a film of good money and stuff, I want the characters to be launched. I don't want them to be dragged. They're going to be
But
launched.
the launch like this, where they're like I don't know, it's crazy shit. So I I don't know. I enjoy. Um, so to go back to the story. So the uh the the mother as a child met this girl. They became friends. Whatever, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden she became attached to her. You know. And so later in life, whenever I guess she gets depressed in some way or whatever, like she goes through her little spurts, she the the friend comes back and is I guess protecting her, kind of like Megan, like she's protecting her.
Well, it's protecting, but it's also jealousy.
Right.
It's like that. We've seen enough movies now, and I've never dealt with it, but as I'm sure people have, where friendships fall apart, and then 10, 20 years later, you got that one friend who's like screaming at you, that you left them, and they got into drugs, and they ended up in prison, and like their life is shit because you left me. And the other person's like, what are you talking about? And
Yeah, it's
that's kind of
not.
like what I got from this is that Diana's just like, you left me. How dare you? And now I'm not going to let that happen again. So whenever
Yeah,
somebody gets too close, like the original dad, I'm going to kill him. And
yep.
then, and then the new dad rolls around, Martin's dad, and
And then the dad is trying to figure out too much information, kind of seeking out enough to like basically confront the mother about this and everything. And he gathered enough proof, which I like that scene of the what is it, daughter going through the house looking for the stuff and finding all of the information because the dad just left everything and the mom didn't know, that I guess all the stuff was being found out about everything.
yeah, I would think, yeah, it would probably be destroyed.
Yeah. So or Diana would have
Yeah,
destroyed
most
it.
likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been the case. Uh so then um so then we meet Martin, who after the dad died, through her coming after him. We meet Martin, who I guess I don't know how long after this was, because obviously the dad already passed and everything. So it must have been like at least like a couple months later or something, you know?
Yeah, there's no funeral and nobody seems to be mourning or anything. So
Yeah, in fact, I mean, so it seems like it's enough time period passed where it's one of those things. So Martin is dealing with living in the house with his mother, and he's not getting any sleep because he's terrified to turn his lights out and to be around there. So he ends up going to school, and but before then, that same night, we meet the daughter and her boyfriend, one you like, and you kind of see that she's sort of afraid of commitment, and stuff, and um, I guess she sort of wants to be able to bail out at any time because that's what she's pretty good at doing. It's a lot of what kind of gets thrown back in her face that she's really good at just leaving, and stuff. There's just that one line where she's like, "Did he just leave us?" And he was like, "You did," you know?
yeah, it's messed up. She keeps getting that thrown in her face. So
Yeah. And he's like, she doesn't say anything because she's like, "All right, you got me, kid." Um, but so anyway, he tries to leave a sock at her house. I thought that was cute, you know. And she's like, hey, all right, maybe you can come over and hang out more or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But here, she throws the sock back at him. It's like, tried because he wanted to something, to be committed,
well, and I thought that was nice.
No, it was
I
eight
I I
months.
I like that the sister liked the stepson, and the
Mhm.
stepson liked the stepsister. I like that the boyfriend um had liked the
Actually,
kid.
it was not stepsisters, half sister, I
Oh, would it be
guess.
half in that
It
case?
would be half because
Half sister. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
because that
because it would
was
be the
their same
dad,
mom. Their same mom,
same
different
mom but
dads.
different dads. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, so half. And I like that the boyfriend liked the half brother.
Yeah,
You know, it's like he was. You could see him kind of talking to him on the sofa, kind of hanging out with them. Like nobody was a dick. You know, and I
right.
like that. You
Well,
know,
except for
even
Diana, the
except for
antagonist.
Diana. Yeah, and
The
then even
antagonist, which is the way it really should be, because here's my thing. We all, people like in horror to make all of these douchebag characters that, man, we're going to kill these characters off, right? Like these characters are gonna die, so we're just gonna make them douchebags or whatever because maybe that's fun to write, or something. Sometimes fun to play. But no, but if you make them, I feel like if you make them nice and we connect with every single of these people, you know, we will we will not want them to die, right? So if they do die, it's like even more of an effect on us, right? So us as, the movie goers are watching this going, "Oh my God, please don't die. Please don't. Oh my God, that guy died." You know? And that sucks. I really like that person, you know? And so I feel like more movies should have really likable characters. Now, maybe some people are not really good at writing likable characters. This writer was really very good at writing people that you could just relate to, you know? I would hang out with that rocker guy, if he wanted to. Wouldn't you?
no, seems like a nice guy. Sure,
Well,
why not?
um,
Apparently, he probably gets high or something too because they had the bong there. So
well, they both probably get high. Um,
yeah.
but once again, that was another thing. Like they might have mentioned the bong, but like they weren't going, "Hey, let's go get high" before going over to that person. You know what I mean? They weren't doing something stupid and reckless. She
No,
was really trying to get her shit together, you know?
that's why I think it's solid. It's you're not getting the whole thing of like she needs help and then she comes home and there's the boyfriend high on the sofa.
Right.
And she's like, "Come on, man, why are you doing this right now?" And he's like, "Hey, I so I yeah, and even when he leaves at the end, and she thinks, that he did leave, he brings the cops back
Yeah. They they get her they served one purpose in the
to get
movie.
to get murdered.
Well, no, to get them out of the closet or whatever the app basement, thing. Got them out of that, and then after that they get murdered. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like they served one purpose really, which was perfect because these are characters that we don't really care whether or not they live or die. No offense to those people. They were really nice cops. I mean, they did tell them to kind of stay back in the car, but like that was just more of a, "Hey, look, this is, if you're putting us in a dangerous situation, go sit in the fucking car." And I think they even said something about going to a hospital, you know? And I was like,
Oh yeah,
"Why?"
because he's all bashed up.
Oh,
His
okay.
face has cuts and stuff on, and they're like, "No, you should go to the hospital.
Yeah.
We got it. We're cops."
Yeah. So, I mean, they even make cops look good in this movie, which, yeah, nowadays I guess that wouldn't that wouldn't play as much. But yeah,
No, they,
so
they they didn't beat anybody and shoot them. That's for sure.
as well, they tried to shoot the fucking they tried to shoot the Diana chick, but
Yeah.
she kept coming after him and everything, and So anyway,
Well, I
which
didn't. Am I was the machete the deleted ending with the flashlight on it?
I think so.
So I didn't get in the deleted extended ending. What would a machete do
No, I mean you
if a
can't.
if a bullet doesn't hurt Diana because she said to somebody, those don't hurt me. What would a
Could
machete
you
do?
cut off her head? But I mean, it would be like the scene in Megan where you cut off something, cut them something, she's still gonna
I
come
know
after you.
there's nothing was brought up. The only thing I could think of was since Diana seems to come straight at you because you're normally down a hallway. and she just runs and kind of jumps on top of you, is maybe the machete is there to impale her.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't get affected by bullets, why would a machete affect her?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. Because nobody can seem to really do anything once she attacks, you know? Like they can't fight her off or, you know, the boyfriend would have probably been able to like take her, you know, if she were sort of, you know, vulnerable in some sense, but she wasn't. She was almost unbeatable. And so
And
we'll
she's
get
just
to that.
crazy.
She was almost unbeatable, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So the the daughter picks up the brother, or the sister picks up the brother at the school because the mother's not answering her phone. They go to the home. They first go to the regular house, to the mom's house, and the mom
I
is
love that house.
oh, do you know what house it was? The
It
same
looks like the
house, and
same house from Ouija.
it is.
That house has been in many movies because I
Yeah.
keep recognizing when they walk through the front door, there's that room that's right there, and there's always the dining room table.
I learned that from another YouTuber named Possessed by Horror, who did a review of this movie,
Oh,
and
I
that was
watch
what,
her.
yeah, and that's what she said was that it was the same house as a Ouija. She had a lot of problems with like uh the storyline of like who this character is exactly. But you go watch her show. I might even give a little link and a little shout out to her review of it because I dig her. I think she's got some really cool, you know, stuff sometimes. She does some good reviews. So shout out to Possessed by Horror. But she's one who mentioned the Ouija house, and not a Ouija house, the movie, but the movie that Ouija and the house that's in it. Did you know there's a movie called The Ouija House?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm saying
Okay.
not that movie. Not talking about that movie, but I'm talking about the house that's in the movie Ouija.
I got that until you took it too far,
And
and then
then
you
I tried to
confused me.
explain
So
it.
yeah, so just yeah.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, so um and the kids go or they go back to the nice house. And the mother's like, "Hey, I can't this is my son. I don't care, blah blah blah. You don't do this." And the boy's already packing up. Like he knows he's already going to be staying at the sister's house no matter what. He's probably gonna, he's gonna tell her he's staying with her. But she's like, pack up your stuff. And he's like, all right, already packed. Let's go, you know? And I mean, I don't know why the mom called the CPS lady or whatever, because she knew where she was, she knew where he was. She knew like you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like they were gonna say that she was gonna stay there forever, you know? This was, I think, always supposed to be like a couple night stay, originally,
I
right?
guess
Just
against her will, and she wanted the even the problems with Diana. She wanted her son back. I think there's something in one of the deleted scenes where the daughter will re-get a lot of information about like Martin, her, the two dads, and it's like a lot of exposition. I don't remember exactly, but it kind of answered a lot. But I
okay.
could see why they cut it. So,
Right.
I think, yeah, because remember the child services woman comes and takes Martin away. She's like, you can't do that. She's,
Right. Well,
which to be, and I don't know how well the mom, was doing. I mean, what did she do to kind of make herself normal? Because we've only seen her as a
basket
mess.
case, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, all she has to do is just talk to her without like looking like a mess. You know what I
but
mean?
see,
Like,
that's another thing that reminded me of Megan is was like the daughter taking the kid. In this case, it was like the sister taking the kid with Megan.
yeah.
So, I tend to think they do cannibalize. I think. Uh,
I mean, hey, what works works,
yeah, I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
not complaining. I'm noticing now because we're watching all of these back to back. That's like, wait, that's like that, and this is like this, and that came from that, and
yeah, they like to reuse stuff, and I'm okay with that. So all right, so to go back, so the um characters all right, so yeah, the CPS lady takes Martin away and says, look, she belongs at home, or he belongs at home. If you want, you can go through all this bullshit. You'd have to go to court, you'd have to take your mom to court, you'd have to go through all this stuff. But she's ready to do that, like she cares about her brother. And I thought that was really sweet. Um, so the CPS lady takes her away and or takes him away, takes him back home. And he's okay with it because he got sleep that night, you know, in a tub, which I thought was interesting, right?
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah, he was like he had the flashlight, he was sitting in the tub and but that was the first time we realized that like once again this thing was following them, you know, right? Because she hears all the noises and everything like that. So she knows like there's something going on, right? Like something weird and creepy, you know? Um, like the dad got attacked at his job, you know? So this whatever woman can go wherever she wants. Diana, she can just travel wherever she wants, you know? Um, but it'd be funny if you saw like little clips of her following the family, because you had to figure out where the person lived, So it would have been funny if you saw her like in a like behind a tree, you know, like and then following them into I don't know. Do you know have any idea what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Like
I
if
don't know.
the freaking Diana following them has to, she knows where the sister lives. She comes to
Right,
attack the sister. So she would
right.
have to have followed them home or something. She can't just show up and be there, I don't think, unless,
So we should see Diana like look in a phone book.
well, no, I was thinking more along of like, sneaking behind a tree and like lurking, and everything like that. And you just see her just following the family wherever she's going.
She
I don't
just
know.
goes on the Facebook.
Oh, that's the address. Okay. And some people
That's
put their
information.
addresses up on Facebook. Don't do that, people. Don't. That's really not what we want to like keep that shit private, you know. But, not me. I don't do that. But, you know, some
I don't
people.
either.
Okay.
Mine just says Las Vegas, I believe.
Okay, good. And you don't even live in Las Vegas, so it's okay.
I do live in Las Vegas.
I was joking. I was like trying
Oh,
to say
oh,
like,
okay.
you even put that up there and you don't even live there. Um
I think I've made it very well known. I live in Vegas.
Um, and Vegas is pretty big, so nobody can stalk you, I don't think. Unless
Hasn't
you
happened yet. So
hasn't happened yet.
no,
I don't
no,
know.
you're nobody until you get a stalker. So
You got that one guy knocking on your door that one time. I thought there, uh-oh, you might have a stalker.
yeah,
You know.
that was weird until I got yeah, and then but it was very nice that he gave me a card, so a gift card. So
So anyway,
yeah,
so yeah, so the
I'm gonna
uh,
let you continue telling the story because we're already an hour into this and we're not even halfway through the movie. So I'm not going to interrupt you while you're telling the story. So you tell the story, and then we can. I don't think we should make this one 2 hours.
I know. Fuck. Hold on, let me see if I can get into this through Wikipedia. Oh Jesus, even Wikipedia is huge on the story. All right, let me try to summarize.
Well, it's
Because,
not that bad under plot. I'm looking at it right now.
yeah, so it says, um, Martin tells his sister that their mother has been talking to a woman named Diana. Rebecca assures him that Diana is not real and that she had also heard that her mother talked to an imaginary girl when she was a child. Once they arrive at Martin's house, Rebecca gets into an argument with Sophie when she realizes her mother is not taking her medication. Sophie tells Rebecca she has no right to lecture her since she abandoned her like Rebecca's father. Questioning her mother's sanity, Rebecca takes Martin to her apartment, much to Sophie's despair. That night, Rebecca is awoken by the same shadowed woman that killed Paul. She narrowly escapes an attack when she turns the light on, making the woman disappear. The next morning, Rebecca notices that the name Diana has been scratched into the floor along with a scratched drawing of a stick figure. She remembers finding the same name and drawing as a child and realizes that Diana is real. Now that I didn't understand why she did that. Was that like marking her territory?
Maybe, but there was that picture.
But why did she do it at
Like
Rebecca's
I know,
house?
maybe I know who you are.
Yeah,
I'm, remember the picture that you drew that I took from you, and that
yeah.
type of thing. Maybe, yeah, like marking, like I'm here.
I'm here. You can't stop me. That kind of thing. Rebecca finds a box of medical records and research in Paul's office. His findings reveal that her mother was admitted to a mental hospital as a child. While there, she befriended a young patient named Diana. Diana suffered from a severe skin condition that meant she could not go out in the sunlight. It was believed that she was evil and was able to get into people's heads. We forgot to mention that. Since
Oh yeah,
Diana's
yeah.
father committed suicide after Diana's influenced him to kill himself. In the end, Diana was accidentally killed by hospital staff when they tried an experimental surgery on her under intense light. Sophie has a conversation with Martin, who was taken back to their mother by the CPS agent, and she decides to allow Martin to meet Diana after turning the light off. That was a creepy scene, you know. So lights off. However, Martin is frightened by Diana and runs away from them back to Rebecca's place. Now that part, I was like, I can't, how the hell did that kid get from the house to the apartment? Now we don't know how far away that is, but like, there's no way you could have hailed a cab or anything like or
He
getting
must
on
have
a
just
bus.
run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess he just ran and then walked a block or two, then ran again, and then walked.
yep. Rebecca, her boyfriend Brett, and Martin stage an intervention with Sophie about how their mother is letting Diana haunt them. Sophie becomes irate, but secretly asks Rebecca for help. She gives her that little note. Um, remembers, I need help, you know. Um, as Diana will not let Sophie go, the group stays the night at Sophie's, intending to get her help in the morning. To avoid an attack from Diana during the night, they rig the house to be as brightly lit as possible. Once again, going back to Curse of La Llorona, like there's that whole night, the whole like last act of the movie takes place that one night, and everything and sort of
Right.
reminded me of this, like I was like, oh man, I'm getting kind of Curse La 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 Rona vibes. Um, they rig the house to be brightly lit as possible, but this proves useless when Diana cuts the power to the whole neighborhood. She traps Rebecca and Martin in the basement and attempts to kill Brett. Despite being injured, Brett escapes by shining the headlight of his car. That was fucking cool, wasn't it? Like he shines the
I
headlight of his car.
My only complaint would be, and I did like that because I like how he just drops to the ground. Is Diana doesn't really seem to have any rules except for light on, light off.
Right.
So then, couldn't she then go to any house, any city, any country, any and as long as it's dark, she could attack people or something, or there
If
doesn't
she
seem to be any
wanted
rules. Like,
to,
yeah, like Diana has to stay with the mom or within the mom's family or something, but it seems like she's able to kind of go across town, you know, and do stuff. So I think that there needed to be more rules. It didn't really
right.
bother me because, like I said, it's short and it's tight, but yeah, I think that there needed to be a little bit more rules with her of what she could and could not do.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So Okay. Despite being injured, escapes the car and drives away. In the basement, Martin and Rebecca find a black light. When Rebecca is using it, she clearly sees Diana with it, but realizes it's not powerful enough to ward her off. She can just see Diana. Brett returns with two police officers. When the officers free Martin and Rebecca from the basement, they also see the shadow of Diana and try to go after her, but she kills them. Rebecca and Martin go out, but Martin insists on getting their mom out as well. Rebecca goes back alone for her mother. As she climbs the stairs, Diana tells Rebecca that she killed Rebecca's father years ago because, like Paul, she's been trying to help Sophie to recover from her trauma. So she then injures Rebecca for trying to do the same. But as Diana prepares to kill her, Sophie appears with a gun from one of the dead officers. Sophie has realized she is tethered to for Diana to exist in the real world and kills herself to save Rebecca. As Sophie's body falls, Diana vanishes from existence. After the long night, Brett comforts Martin and Rebecca in an ambulance outside the house, assuring them that Diana is truly gone, which also gives seemed to give them some trauma. Like, when the lights kind of flicker a little bit, they like kind of freak out for a second, and then Brett's like, "It's okay, everybody. She's gone. We're gonna be all right,"
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that ending because it did sort of give this like feel of like they're all gonna
Well,
be okay.
yeah, and the mom is you have these movies, even like Butterfly Effect, when the main character realizes they're the problem.
Right.
If I kill myself, the problem ends.
Hmm.
And so they sacrifice themselves, which is why I'm glad that they cut off that extended ending. If people want to see it, it is on YouTube. Just type in, lights out, deleted scenes, and it will pop up. Um, it's worth watching because that's probably what test audiences watched and then said no, and they cut it
Yeah.
off.
They said they said no, we like like it's like that it's like in Clerks there was there was that I don't know if you seen the was it the deleted scene of the robber coming in and shooting
Yeah,
Dante,
Dante being killed. Yeah,
and then all they had to do is just take that thing where it goes, you're closed," and then just end it right there, right? That was like the perfect ending.
yeah.
But he wanted to add the person getting shot because he wanted to give them a twist ending, I guess, to something that like nobody saw coming, kind of
Well,
thing.
and it's on Clerk's 10-year anniversary. It's on that
Right. And
DVD.
yeah, and it's on the Blu-ray which has all the Clerks X stuff, and it was even on the regular DVD when I had the regular DVD, it had the alternate ending with I think commentary or whatever. But uh that was anyway, the point was like, you have like this added stuff that's not needed, when you can just cut it to, like in this case, just cut it to the ambulance and that's it. That's all that's needed. After then you've got a pretty uh even though I'm not gonna lie, then if you look at all the Scream movies, they kind of end all like that too, where they're all like the ambulance and everything's okay at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually got really mad at this like newest Scream for that. I was like, come on, do something, like have like somebody come out of nowhere or something and then it just ends, Like I'd rather have that than like the same shit every single time, you know? But
Well, now with Scream, it's kind of a tradition, I guess.
I
You
guess.
know,
I guess, but even then, I'd still want something. Like if the people who are doing the new Scream, uh, whatever,
Silence or
silence,
something. Yeah,
radio silence, if they end up doing the next one, which I don't think they're supposed to, they're not, I don't think they're signed on,
I
and I
thought
know
they
they're
signed
doing
up for a
another.
trilogy.
I don't know if they did or not, but if they did, that's awesome, and I would love for them to do one more. But if somebody new comes in, fucking switch it up, man. Because now, even though it's a tradition, you know, it was a tradition to have Dewey come back. Now we're having a tradition of that other guy coming back, and that's getting annoying, you know? Like,
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, it became kind of a joke in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies that every single one had like a funeral scene.
Oh, I never noticed that. But it became a joke? Huh.
Yeah, I guess
Uh,
I think at some point it kind of stopped, but I don't remember if there is one in part one, but I know, yeah, that they kept doing a funeral scene over and over again.
yeah.
And then a lot of slasher films ended up doing funeral scenes.
Once again, this movie did not have a funeral scene and almost feels like it shoulda had one, like just to show passing of time, you know?
Well, with how quickly they got rid of that second dad, I mean, they were fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm
There didn't seem
saying.
to be any sort of, like the
Like,
mom looking at a photo of him or anything. It was just like, yeah, we're kind of done.
well, they mentioned the dad a little bit. They mentioned stuff, but
Well,
like,
they mentioned him a few times, but it's not like, hey, are you over, dad? No,
yeah,
I'm
it's
still
more like,
sad.
yeah, it's more like, hey, your dad died. Like that's how it's like. It's not,
I'll cry tomorrow.
yeah, I know your dad died, but blah 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 blah. Your dad died, my dad left us. Oh, my dad died too. Like now they've got that going. So if they do Lights Out too, I don't know if they would have those characters come back or if it'll be another person who's got that ability to because it is kind of cool the idea of a ghost that that you turn the light on, turn the light off, turn the light on. You know what I mean? You can keep seeing them and not seeing them, right? Like that short like set up for something that could be really, really cool. So it could be cool if the next movie that they do does not involve Martin and his sister, and it's more another group of people that are dealing with this sort of thing. And maybe to bring them back, they find out that there was this story, in the newspaper, kind of like Final Destination, like, where they find out that they
Get
can,
killed by a brick.
yeah, one of them got killed by a brick.
Well,
Uh,
on Wikipedia, I mean, it says sequel. This is 2016 that the writer director are coming back. Juan is coming back. But then it says as of 2022, there has been no update on the sequel's development.
Yeah, I mean, it still says on IMDb that it's in development, but I mean, I don't even know if it got written or if it's, uh, whatever. So I don't know if that guy's just
I don't know. I
is
mean, if you got Aquaman going or you got Shazam going, probably Lights Out 2 is not your priority.
right, which kind of sucks. I mean, in a way, that why they would have to wait for him. Like, I understand he created whatever, but like, come on now, go on and you know. But it's interesting. I wonder if James Wan sort of said something and got him Shazam because they
Oh,
work
probably. I
together.
mean, yeah, it's all Warner Brothers, so sure,
Yeah.
why not? Yeah, they go. Aquaman made a gazillion dollars, and they're like, "Hey, we want to make Shazam. Do you have any suggestions? One of your guys?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just what this guy did Lights Out, made a shitload of money." And speaking of, so we don't forget,
Yeah, we're almost at that
uh,
time anyway to wrap
yeah.
it up.
So the budget for Lights Out is 4.2 million.
Yep.
The box
And
office on it.
I can see that because they didn't need like, a huge budget for this movie. Like
No, it
this
was
movie
like
is
two apartments and five people.
yeah,
Um, uh, its box office was 148.9 million
there
on
you
a
go.
$4.9 million budget. I mean, I don't
Insane.
understand why these people cannot understand you don't need to make a movie for $60
We've talked
million.
about this. We talked about this.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, unless your
why
name is James Cameron, then stop.
even with your name being James Cameron, stop making these ridiculously big, expensive fucking bullshit movies because the the biggest thing is they want it for the theaters. Theaters are dying. Like I hate to say it, theaters are dying. Digital is the way of the future. Fuck you, Tarantino, if you are,
Oh, that's your guy.
I know that's blasphemous to say, but like he's all about how the theaters have to have, theater, they can't have digital, equipment in the theaters. Like he doesn't even like going to theaters anymore. He likes his own theater at his own house where he can control what movie he watches, and he has to watch a 70 millimeter print, whatever. You know what I mean? Like of these movies in his theater. I'm just like, dude, it's a fucking movie. I don't care like how
I
I see
I
it.
I think if it's brand new, so what? But
Right.
if you're going to go watch Jaws or Citizen Kane, it should be on film. It should be projected,
It should
not from a
be.
digital projector. So
But do
I
they even
also like
have
show
like
off
regular
money.
projectors getting made anymore? Yeah.
Probably not, and it's fresh,
It's certified
certified
fresh.
fresh.
Nice. What was it on the Rotten Tomato score? Let me look that
Yeah, it
up.
doesn't say. I don't know. Just says certified fresh.
Lights out Rotten
And it's from the
Tomatoes.
producer James Wan, director of The Conjuring. So it kind of makes it seem like James Wan made this movie in a way.
Oh, from the okay.
Yeah.
75%. That's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
It's funny, This Is the End got 80 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's fucking high for a Judd Apatow kind of created
No, it's a good movie. So
Yeah. But yeah, this was a good movie too. Like I enjoyed this
yeah.
very much. Like I
Well, it's
had
a horror gem. It says it right there.
Yeah, it's a horror gem.
It wouldn't lie. Who's that from? My God, it's so light. Somebody from Forbes.com. I can't even read it. It's
I love
so
I love I love when there's like these indie
hey,
filmmakers who
there's your
put
background.
what?
There's your background.
Nice. Oh yeah, there you go. That's cool. I didn't even know that was on the DVD or Blu-ray. Um, and so I don't like these indie filmmakers who put like, just quotes of somebody saying like this movie rocks with nobody's name on it under it. I'm like,
Oh,
who's
because that's made up. Yeah,
yeah.
it's so the best review I've ever seen, and this is probably the way that I would want to do it down the road, was for Frailty, Bill Paxton's film.
Uh-huh.
All the reviews were Sam Raimi, James Cameron, like everybody, like Billy Bob Thornton. It's like everybody that he worked with, all of his friends, gave all the reviews,
Right.
and it was in the trailer, I think, too. And I'm like, that is awesome. That's I think that's where they go. Get your friends to give you good reviews. Plus, it was a good movie to begin with. But you
Right.
know,
Why not, right? Get your famous friends. You know, um Eli Roth probably had, Peter Jackson, I think, or Stephen King or whatever, say great things about Cabin Fever. That fucking helped. You know, these like, the New Yorker or something. Like, I don't think people care, if the New Yorker said
no.
this, necessarily. Siskel and Ebert, when they gave t thumbs up, that meant something, you know, back in the day.
Unfortunately, yeah, I've always had a love hate relationship with those guys.
I think they're wrong. And I've talked about this before. I don't know if I've talked about it with you. They were wrong because like they even gave in a review, Siskel, I think it was Siskel, gave out for Friday the 13th, gave out Becky or what is it? Not Becky, what the fuck?
Betsy Palmer,
Betsy
yeah, her
Palmer's
address.
address and said, if you want to lay blame to anyone, lay blame to her, send her mail to this, to her. And it was her legit address at that
Well, they did
time
the same
and
thing
stuff.
with Silent Night, Deadly Night when that came out. Is they had
Mm.
a whole episode about how men hate women, and they said that the film is awful, and they gave out like the director's address, the producer's address. They gave out all that, saying that these are the people to complain to, and it's like, dude, you're a fucking film critic. You haven't done anything. At
Yeah.
least Roger Ebert wrote one movie.
He
Beyond the
wrote
Valley of the
Beyond the
Dolls.
Valley of the Dolls that Russ Meyer made. Like he's not
Yeah,
even making an Academy Award winning movie. He's making a movie that Russ Meyer's directing.
yeah. It's like you guys. I met Roger Ebert at Sundance, and I talked to him briefly because we were waiting for a movie, and like he wouldn't talk about anything. It was just like one of those things where it's like, what else you talk to Roger Ebert about?
Yeah, you
Movies
want to talk
and
about movies, and then if he's not going to tell you his thoughts on
yeah.
certain things or whatever, probably
Okay,
because
bye.
you can read it in in his reviews or whatever. But yeah, that's sort of it would be sort of boring to like, did you catch that Mets game?
Yeah,
Like, right?
snowing outside. Yeah, nice snowing.
Weather. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're talking weather right now
yeah,
with Roger.
wonderful.
That would have been an interesting new TV show, The Weather with, Roger Ebert. All
Today
right.
I give the weather thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down for because it's raining. Thumbs up when it's sunny.
Yeah,
You know.
and my issue with Ebert is that he thought that the music for The Graduate by Simon and Garfunkel was wrong for the movie. He then admitted later, decades later, that he was wrong, which he was. But he
He's
said,
actually admitted before like other things too that he's been wrong in the past. And the funny thing is they he gave a thumbs up to the original Scream, and Siskel gave it a thumbs down, right? And then Scream 2, both of them gave it a thumbs up, right? She thought it was like more clever, and I'm like, it's the same fucking movie. Like again, like how is this any different? You know? And I'm like thinking, did he get paid by like Weinstein extra money to like, to give it a thumbs up, or whatever?
I mean, who knows? He's the guy who had brain cancer and was giving out wrong reviews, and you could even see Ebert calling him out on it.
Oh
He
shit.
he's the one who said that. Yeah, he went in for they found out that he had like brain cancer, and I'm not making fun of him or putting him down because it's horrible. But he went in. They found out that he had the brain cancer. He left the show for a while, and then he came back after the surgery, and he seemed okay. And then all of a sudden, it was like, "Babe, Pig in the City, best movie of the year." And Ebert went like, "He's like, what? Are you serious?" And
Oh,
and
Pig in the City.
Pig
Okay.
in the City,
The first
yeah,
Babe was great. It was amazing, but
yeah,
like
but it,
Pig in the City is not that great.
yeah, he
No.
started giving really weird reviews, and soon he unfortunately he died later because
No.
of it. But it's not because of bad reviews, but because of the, but
Now you're
because
going
of
into me where you're explaining and it might be confusing. Like what? But yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't wish anything with both of them because then Ebert got like jaw cancer, and he had to
Yeah, I
go around
mean,
with the kind of the Phantom of the Opera type thing going on,
have
and
you seen that movie, right? Life
I own
Itself.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, I own it
it's a good
too.
film. Yeah,
Friend of mine sent me it. My friend Rick, from Down to Movie, which is also another great YouTube channel. But he sent me, a copy of it with other stuff, and fucking, or wait, no, Eric Spudik sent me it. Never mind, wrong person. Sorry, I thought Rick did, but Eric
I
sent me it.
don't think anybody cares
I care because I want to be right, and I don't want Eric to
because
go get mad
we're
at me.
talking
Like,
about the Ebert movie, so.
yeah, well, it's a great movie. Really was.
It's a good film, and I teared up during it because it is very sad. And I'd watched them since sneak previews on PBS. Is my I remember when I was just a kid, and my mom's like, "Hey, there's a show on here that reviews movies." And I'm like,
I
"Oh,
I
let's watch it."
I remember on Sundays, I think it was Sunday or Saturday, but I'm pretty sure it was Sunday. We would go down, me and my family would go down and eat lunch, right? And at noon or so, and Siskel and Ebert would be on. And so I'd want to see what movies were coming out and and I wanted to see what they would give it. I didn't care because I would go watch a movie that I was interested in, whether or not they gave it a good review or bad review, but I still wanted to see what they said because they were more fun, together. They like joked on each other and they had like chemistry.
Oh, the
Like,
behind the scenes stuff is hilarious of them
yeah,
fighting. I
I've
mean,
heard they don't
it
really
really
didn't
is.
really like each other a lot,
No, I
but
don't think they did it all. They just worked well together on
and
camera. So
yeah, they worked really well because sometimes they would argue and sometimes they would put each other down. And I was like, damn, usually it was Roger Ebert like giving the little zingers at Siskel. All right, we're
yeah,
we're done. We just talked lights out. Let's give the rating for it.
I will say this one last thing on Cisco and Bird. I still remember them giving the dog of the week because they did that on every episode. Was the dog of the week. They had the dog that barked, and Fido or whatever the dog's name was would be the dog of the week. And their dog of the week for 1 week was the Evil Dead. They thought it was one of the worst movies ever made.
They later on had like these. I've been watching it because YouTube's been circulating a lot of my whatever this stuff in my algorithm. And they would show a lot of my Siskel and Ebert. So they show like the worst of 1996 or something, the worst movies, and it would be all of them just talking like I guess at the end of the year, which we sort of do
Yeah,
that too. So I mean, we kind of stole from
yeah.
them.
I
Sorry,
never cared for the best. I always liked the worst.
you
Show me
always
the
like the
worst because
worst.
those are the movies. Yeah, I'm going to go see. Dogs of the Week. I always watched. I
Because
always
they're
went out and
probably
tried to
better
find them.
than what they're saying, or
Yeah.
whatever.
So,
You
but
know,
I bring up Evil Dead just because we've talked about Evil Dead Rise. So
yeah, I want to see that, but that's not going to be for a couple weeks. So
it's
hopefully,
good.
you know, hopefully I don't get spoilered. Anyway,
The
uh,
trailer pretty much shows everything, anyways. So,
rating
um, 4,
four. I'm gonna
4.
give it a five.
Shit,
Yeah, it
homeboy.
went. Yeah,
Wow. So I did 5 with Megan, and you're giving 5 with Lights Out.
I did 4.5 with Megan, which I mean, it
Yeah,
got
yeah,
high
fair.
up there. It was almost there. It's just I didn't think it could push it over. This pushed it over, I think. I had a lot of
Wow.
fun with it. I really, really enjoyed it. Like I want to own it, and everything. So I'm gonna buy it soon. But I
I got
really
my copy at Dollar Tree.
is it a Blu-ray or DVD?
It's a DVD.
I wanna see if they have the Blu-ray of it. I'm gonna try to get the Blu-ray, if they have one. Um, but
I would think so.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun movie and it's something I could watch over and over again, you know. And if, just like you said, if somebody says, "Hey, can I watch Megan?" Me personally, I might be like, "I just watched that recently, so maybe not right now." You would be like, "Okay." If somebody's like, want to watch Lights Out, I'd be like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like I'm down. Because I mean, once again, I thought the girl was just super cute, and
She is very
uh,
good. She got great
I
eyes.
oh my God, she's just super cute. And she's been in a lot of other stuff and whatnot, and she's doing really well for herself. So good for her. I've
There you
seen
go.
her like her picture on IMDb. I've seen her picture on, other movies and stuff. So I was like, oh my God, she's been in a lot of stuff. And she's married to the last thing I'll say is you talked about Scott Pilgrim Sees the World a lot, but the drummer, for it, I think he was a drummer or bassist. The guy who sort of it was Mark Webber in it. I think he was a bassist, but he was one of the band
Scott
members.
is the bassist.
Okay.
The girl is the drummer, and then the lead singer is guitar and lead singer. And then
Okay.
they have a
Steven Stills in it.
yes, yeah. He's the lead singer. Yeah.
Yeah. He was he's married to her and everything.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I've loved him ever since there's a movie called Drive Me Crazy with Adrian Grenier.
I know it.
Yeah. And
Never seen it, but I know it.
so Melissa Joan Hart and we he was in that. He was in Snow Day. He was in stuff I grew up watching, as a kid. So I'm just like I always liked the dude, And then, now knowing he's got one of the hottest wives ever, I'm like, good for him, like good. Like I like the dude. I think he's a great actor, and I've always liked every character he plays. So, like, good job, dude. And I want her, because she's gorgeous. I want her to be happy. So, there you go.
There you
Uh,
go, man. There you go.
all right, everybody. What are we reviewing next week? I think we talked
Uh,
about it. I just totally forgot and I didn't write it down. 'Cause I'm
like,
an idiot.
what's it called? The
The
crucifixion?
crucifixion. All
Yeah.
right. So we're doing the crucifixion next week, everybody, and I'm really kind of excited for that. That's an interesting.
Yeah, I've only
un-
seen that one once.
It is not James Wan, by the way, everybody, but it is written by the guys who did The Conjuring, I believe, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
it's like their thing, like their film or something. Yeah.
and then we have one more that will be James Wan, I believe. Like I think the last one will be a James Wan produced movie.
I can't
Do you,
think of what it is.
you can think of what it is? Let me see if I can, because if I just
No,
look
because
at,
I just have them stacked. So I don't.
yeah, it was, Jesus, is it? Oh, Demonic.
Oh, so that'll be the last one.
Pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be the
Demonic was
last
the
one,
last one,
Demonic.
which is very Conjuring. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's produced by him. So,
yeah.
but yeah, that'll be the last one that we'll do this year. Not this year, this mid-season. This mid-season finale will be Demonic, and then we'll be moving on to we'll be back for more stuff in the fall. But we're gonna be taking a break this summer, which will be good. So
That's stuff to do.
we got way too much. Well, you're even gonna be coming on and joining another show of mine. Can't even talk about that yet. I hope you're not confused about that yet.
I
Um,
think I know the one you're talking about. Well,
yeah.
yeah, the one, yeah, where I had to pick three films. That
Mm,
one.
we'll talk about it because I don't
Okay.
think that's right. But all right. Anywho, everybody, thank you guys for joining us. It's a little shorter than the last one, so awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.